Good morning, scholars. Welcome to another class, and this we're going to be looking at percentage profit and incentives. I want to welcome everyone who is me. This is Kamau Mahakoe, facilitator, and I'm just waiting for my students to get on. In the meantime, let me set up what I'm about to do. So we're looking at percentage profit and loss. And earlier, when we talked about percentage, we said that percent means 100. And if we're expressing a percent as a fraction, all we need to do is to write that percent 100. So 20% would be 20 over 100. 1% would be 1 over 100, and so on. So I'm going to focus this morning on percentage profit and loss. But just to recap what we did earlier. So we're saying if we have 20%, can write that as 20 over 100. And in the last class, we also reduced our percentages. So when we express a percent as a fraction, we reduce it. So we're saying we can cancel the zeros here. Goes into itself one time, 2 goes into times. So 20% is 1/5. Therefore, asked to find 20% of anything, you're only being asked to find 1/5 of that thing. So just divide the thing by 5 then, in other words. So 20% of 60 is the same as dividing 60 by 5. Right? So that's really what we're saying. For the students in the chat, just type and let me know present in the class. Type a message in the chat to say present, miss. So I know who is. Okay, so all those who are present, just type to say miss, present, miss, name or something. Also, let me know if you're hearing me loud and if you're hearing any echoes. Let me know how you're hearing and if you're seeing the screen nice and bright. Let me know all of that. Give me some feedback on all of that before we move on. So are you hearing me? Are you seeing this screen clearly? Tell me yes or no to do. Okay, all right, so we're going to move on. Will somebody say no? No, you can't hear me? All right. Okay, so let's go. All right, so again, if we have 35%, and this is just revision, we did this in the last class, but just to is on the same page here. So 35% would be 35 over, since percent means over 100, out of 100. And when we can use 5 to reduce it. So 5 goes in 35 7 times, and 5 goes into 100 20 times. That would be 20. And I mentioned to you in the last, it's alarmed if you see a percentage that's bigger than 100%. I know we understand 100% is a full whole, right? 100% means 100 parts out of 100 parts. So that's a full whole thing. But you can have 110%, you can have 150%, you can have 900%. But what would that mean in terms of the whole? So let's see. Let's say we have 110%. So if we write that down, that would be 110 over 100, and that cancels, so the zeros cancel each other. We have 11 over 10, and we know that is 1 and over 10. So what it really means then, if we have any percent that's more than 100%, we're really talking about more than one whole plus some more. So this is one whole, and then we have another whole that we have divided into 10 parts, and we're talking about one out of that 10 parts. So 110% mean one whole thing plus 1/10 of another thing. Same, they divided. Suppose we had 600%. What would that be as a fraction? So 600%, that would be 600 over 100. And we know we can reduce to 1, which is the same as 6. So 600% means 6 wholes. So you can have percentage that's more than 100, but 100% means one full whole, one complete thing. All right, so let's go into finding a percent of thing before we go further to the profit and loss. So let's say you're finding a percent of something, right? So let's say 20%. Let's say you're asked to find 20% of, what is 20% of 94? Again, we set up, we know that 20 means 20 out of 100. So that would be 20 94. 20% of 94. So all we have to do now is to reduce. So we can over 1, we don't have to them out. And then we know this 0 cancels this one. 2 can go into, so that's 5 times. So in the numerator, we have 94, and in the denominator, we have 5, and 5 goes into 94. 5 into 9 one time, remainder 4, 8 times 4, and we add a decimal, or we can leave it as a fraction. So 50% of 94, we just put the 20 over 100 times 94. Suppose we're asked, though, let's say, and so you do a test, and the test was marked out, say the test was marked out of 40, and you really studied for the test, and you got, out of the 40, you got 38 marks. You got 38 correct out of the full 40 sums that you got. Now you want to know, what percent did I get in terms of my test score? It was 40 items in all, and you got 38. So in other words, you want to know what percent of 40 is 38. That's what percent of the full 40 is that 38 that you got right. So you do that is you put the 38 sums that you got right over the full sums, and you're going to multiply that by 100. It as a percent. Now is reduce it. So that 0 cancels that. What we're really doing when we're canceling like this, we're dividing by 10. So we're dividing 40 and 100 by 10. So we're left with 4 in the denominator and numerator. Again, and we see that we can use 2 into 4, 2 into 38 goes 19. 2 can also go into 10 5 times. So we need now to just times 5. So 5 9s 45, and 5 1s 5 and 4 9. So we get 95%. So that means if you got 40 sums to do and you got 38 of them correct, your percentage in terms of your test score would be 95%. So whenever you want to work out your percentage, let's say you do a test and you want to work out your percentage, just put how many you got right over the total amount and multiply it by 100. And if you're asked one quantity as a percent of the other, this is how you do it as well. So in this case, it would be expressing 38 as a percentage of the full 40. So we put the 38 over 40 times 100. Let's look at another scenario. Let's say in a class, so in a class we have boys and girls. All right, so we're in a class. There are 54 students in all. So 54 students in all. Some are girls. So let's 29 are girls. Girls. And you want to express as a percent. So 29 are girls, the rest are boys. So you want to express the 29 girls as a percent of the total number of students. So for that, you would put the 29 over the 54 times 100, and you would take in. So let's so 5 2 times remainder 1, and 2 into 14 goes 7. It's easier for divide the 29 by 7, and that would give me 1 and 2 over 7, 2 over 27 rather. So we multiply that by 100. Or we could multiply 9 times 100. Oh, I didn't. Sorry, I made a mistake. I didn't divide the 100 by the 2. Hold on. All right, so I use the 2 to cancel the 54. So 2 into 100, so 50. All right, so we go to the side now and vote 50 times 29 Okay, so 50 times 29. So 9 times 0 is 45. 2 times 0 is 0, and 2 5s. All right, 1,050, and we need to divide that now by 7. All right, so 1450 and 27 into that. You know, there are 3 we can estimate, which we can use. There are 3 27s in 100. So let's try 5 for the 140. 27 can't go into 14, so 145. Let's see if 5 would take it above. If not, if it does, then we know it will be 4, right? So 5 7s 35. 5 2s. Okay, so it looks like 5 can go. 5 7 35. 10 and 3. So we have 10. Write that down, and we know 27 into 100 will go 3 times. 3 times 27, that's 91. So it's 100 minus 91. So we 3 7s 21, 3 2s 8. So that's 21. 81. Sorry. Right, so we have as the remainder here 19. Then would be 3, 19 over 27, and that is percent. All right, so this is our final answer. So let me recap for this one. So we are told all right, so obviously some are girls, boys. No aliens in the class. We're not cat or pet dog or anybody else. So we're just boys and girls are girls. So clearly though, if 29, the number of boys is 54, right? However, what they was to work here is percentage. What per class are girls? So since it's 29 girls, we would put 29 over the full 54 students, and then we can reduce our fraction. So 2 into 4 was 27, and 2 into 100 goes 50. So then apply 50 times 29. We got 1,450, and with 7, which was in the denominator, and we ended up with 53 with a remainder of 9, and 19 over 27%. Because remember, we are expressing as percent. So if we ask then what percentage of the class would be boys, there are two ways we could work that. We could say, all right, let's take the 29 from the 54, and that gives us what, 25? And we can put the 25 over the 54 times 100. We could do that. Or, since we already worked out that the percentage that are girls is 53 and 19 over 27%, take that from 100%. So that would give, I think that would give 46 and 8 over 27%. I'm working that one swiftly out of my, I think that's it. So if we take 53 and 19 over 27 from the full 100%, right? I do believe it would be 46, 8 over 27%. So those are the two ways you can work that. So let's go on now to percentage and loss. You're talking about a profit. What you're really saying is you're making extra money, or you're getting something more than what you invested. So businesses are there to make profit. And so if a business person buys something at a particular cost and they are going to sell it back to the customer, they will not be selling for the same price that they bought it for, or they would not be able to stay in business. Because remember, you have to pay your utility bills, you have to pay for the rent of the space that you have the business, you have to pay your workers, you have to pay yourself, and so on. So you must make a profit in order to stay in business. So let's say someone is in the business of selling computers. All right, so this person has bought some computers, and the person paid, let's say the person bought 20 computers, and all that person paid $50,000. computer. Now, the person can decide, okay, how much profit do I want to make? Because remember, if this is your business, you decide how much profit you make. Some persons might want to make 100% profit. That means they would have to double the cost of the goods, right? Someone might say, oh, okay, I'll be satisfied with just making 50% profit or a 10% profit, depending on what the thing is. Let's say this particular person has decided that he or she wants to make 70% profit. Okay. So 20 computers were the total cost of those 20 computers was $50,000. The individual wants to make a 70% profit on the computers. So selling back all those 20 computers. So you're asked now to find out how much would those computers be sold for. There are a number of ways that the question can be posed. They might want you to work out the total cost, or they might want you to work out the unit cost. It all depends. So you have to read carefully. Sometimes they give you the total cost. Sometimes they just do the quantity and the unit cost, how much for each one. And then you're expected to work out the total and so on. So there are a variety of ways the questions can come. But if you understand what's happening, then it doesn't really matter which way they come. You can handle it. So what we're going to do then, we first need to work out what is the profit. So since it was at 70% profit, we need to find out 70% of $1,000. So that would be 70 times. And we know when we're dividing by 100, we can just cancel this like that. So what we really need to find now, 70 times 500, right? That should be 7,535. So that would be 3,500, and we have 3 zeros. So that's $30 profit. That's just the profit. That's just the extra money that the businessman or woman is going to make on the test. So what is the price that they were sold for? So we'd have to add the $50,000 plus the $35,000. And that would give us 80. So in order to make a 70% profit, the business person sell all those 20 computers for $85,000, because 70% of 50,000 is 35,000. That's the extra that he's making. But you also have to add back the original cost price that he bought the computers for and add the profit to that. Because remember, then that is added on. Loss, which we're going to come to a little while, a loss is something that is taken off. So another way of looking at profit would be to say that you are taxing the goods. A tax is added to the goods. In concept, you work out the percent of the goods and you add it to the original cost. So profit and tax, you add. For loss, or let's say you're being given a discount, So if you go into a store and they're having, and you're getting a discount, you're getting a reduced price. So if it's a 10% discount, find 10% of the original cost price, and then you subtract that. So in a loss or a discount, the selling price is less than the cost price. For the profit or the tax, the selling price is more than the cost price. So let's look at another scenario. All right, so let's say you have decided that you're going to sell some, let's see, you bought some footballs and you're going to sell them back. All right, so your business, now each football costs you, so for each one you paid $5. Okay, so you paid $5 for each one. And you bought, let's say you bought 15 of them. You're selling them back, and you have decided you want 20% profit on the footballs. So you're making a how to sell each one for. So we need to find two things. How much would you have to sell each one for? Of course, we need to find out what is your profit. So that's the first thing that you're going to make. On each one. And what's the total you'd sell them for? So like I said, the question can come a number of ways. So I just want us to have some practice with all the ways. So we know that we paid $5 for each football. It's 15 of them. If we want to make a 20% profit on each one, so we're going to find 20% of the $5. For some reason, my pen not cooperating. So we're finding 20% of the $5. All right. So 0 cancels that one. 5 into 10, 2 times. And 2 can go into. So actually, 20% of $5 is $1. Okay. So we're making a $1 profit on each one. So that means, so the profit is $1 on each one. So how much would we have to sell each one for then? If we're making a $1 profit on each one, we'd have to sell each one for the $5 plus the $1 profit. So we're $6. In terms of the total, it's $5 for each football, and it's 15. So if we wanted to work out the total cost that we paid, so 15 times $5 for each one, 2.5 and 2.7. So we paid $75. We're making $6 each one. If we had started with the total, we could find the 20% of the $75 to get the total profit. Or we can just, since we already worked the unit, $6 on each one, and it's 15 of them. Sorry, $1 on each one, $1 each one, and it's 15 of them. So $15 profit in all. So in all, we're selling them for $90. So we could have more dollars, which includes the cost of profit. We're selling it for $6. It's 15 of them. We would have got $90 total. So either way you work it, whether you work it as a unit cost or you work it as the total cost and the total profit, right? You'll end up with the same thing. So read the question carefully and see what they're asking you for. Are they asking you how much you're paying for each one? Are they asking you what's the profit for each one? Or are they asking you how much you're paying for all of them and how much you're selling back all of them for, and what is the total profit? That kind of thing you have to look at very carefully. So let's look at tax, because tax, like I said, is similar to profit. So let's say paying in Jamaica, we pay GC, general consumption tax. Let's say the tax is a 10% tax. All right, so let's say we're paying a 10% tax. Oh my, I chose the wrong color. So we're paying 10%, and let's say, so you're going to buy, so you're going to the store, you're going to buy an apple. For that apple, you're paying the cost, the marked price on the apple. Let's say that is $4. And you're buying three things. So you're buying the apple, maybe you buy some juice, and that is, the juice is 11. And let's say you buy a sandwich, and the cost of the sandwich is $8, let's see. So how much money would you have to give cashier? All. So what we need to do is to add, we need to add the cost. We're adding the cost of the apple, the cost of the juice, the cost of the sandwich. So when we add those up, we get 8 and 13. And so that's $23. But that's not what we're going to, that does not yet include the tax. So we need to work out now 10% of the $23. We know that 10% is 1/10, and if we're dividing by 10, that means we move one place to the left. So it give us $2, and so now we need to add that $2.30 to the $23. So in all, end up paying $5. And all right, for those in the chat, if you understand what I just did, what I've been doing so far, I want to say I understand, or if you have any questions, let me know you have. So type in the chat me, all the students present. Tell me if you understand so far what we've been doing. Let me hear from all my students. I need to hear if you understand. Do you have any questions? No, I'm going to give you one to work out, and I want you to put up for this one before we go on to the percentage loss. So I'm going to work out your answer and post the answer. So let me see if you really understand what we're doing. All right, so you go into a car dealership, you're going to buy a car. And the cost of the car, the marked car, is $20,000. The car dealer comes to you and he says, or she says, your car is really for $20,000, but guess what? We have a special deal today. If you buy it cash, if you buy the car cash, we're going to give you a discount of 20%. We're going to give you a discount of 20%. That's a discount, but he's saying, however, there's a catch, there is a tax that we add to our sales, our car sales, and that tax 5%, or let's say 5% tax. We have to deduct the tax first. We're still giving you a really sweet deal. It's a really special deal today, but we just have to take out this little 5% tax first, and then we can give you your 20% discount. So I want you to work for me, scholars. How much would you end up paying for the car? Work out how much you would actually end up paying for the car. So the businessman is saying, here's what, you came on a special day, in a good mood today. We are going to give you a 20% discount for this car. However, there's a little thing we have to do first. We have to add this tax to it, and then we can give you the discount. So post your answers and tell me, what would you end up paying for the car? Let me see some answers coming in. Let me see some answers coming. How much would you really pay? Come on, guys. Put your answers up. Post them. So it's two things happening here. You're buying it cash, so you're going to get the discount, 20% discount, but there's a tax you have to pay. There's a tax. They have to add the tax first, give you the discount. All right, so Najaro is saying, are you saying $1,000 is what you're going to pay for the car? The car that was marked at $20,000? Are you saying you would end up paying $3,000? Jerry is also saying he would pay $3,000 for the car. Scholars, let me implore you to read carefully. Read and listen carefully, because I really think you could end up paying $3,000 for that, just getting a 20% discount on. Think about it. 20%, if you express that as a fraction, 20 over 100, that cancels down to 1/5. So 20% of something is one thing. You're getting off. It doesn't seem logical to me that you 1/5 of 20,000 off and just pay $3,000. So rethink that. Jerry's changing his mind now. He's saying you're going $18,000. Let's see. Aiden is also saying $17,000. Jerry for me in the did. How did you? The answer is pretty close, you know. Jer and Aiden, your answers are pretty close. But I want to see what your thought process was. You're saying he found 20% $1,000, which is 400. Are you sure that's 400 though? I think that would be 4,000. And then what did you do? How did you 17,000 then? That would give. How did you get from the 4,000 to 17,000? Okay, then you found 5%. of the 20,000 and find 5% of the 20,000 again. So worked out 5% of the 20,000. That is the tax, right? And that gives you 1,000. So you start today, add that to the 20. So add that to the 1,000, and then you find 20% of that amount, which is the discount. You're going to subtract it. So you got 15,000 for that. So look, let's go step by step. So I want us to work out the first. So let's work it on the screen now. So they want us to work out the tax. So that would be, it's a 5% tax. So 5% of the 20,000. So that's zeros can $1,000. And since this is a tax, now we're going to add it back to the 20,000. So with the 21, so we're going to find the discount on it. So we're getting a 20% discount. So let's put that in another color. Let's use. So now we're finding a 20% the $21,000. So 21,000. And so zeros cancel zeros. That will give us what? 4,200. Since this is a discount, now we're going to subtract that from the 21. So 21,000. So again, let's use a different. So it's a 21,000 minus the 4,200. And to give us 1,800. So that's why I was telling you, you're pretty close. So 16,800. Let me write it over here. This is what you end up paying. What I want, one last one before we wrap up this class. What I want you to do for this one at home, work out the discount first, and then work out the tax and see if you would end up with the same answer. So this is our final answer here. That's what you're going to pay for the car. But just to check on your own, so work out the 20 discount. So that's the 20% of the $20,000. And subtract that from the $20,000 and then work out a 5% tax on that. And see if, and add it to it and see if you would get the same answer. So what you're really seeing is if it really makes a difference, which one we work first, whether we work the whether the tax first and then the discount, or the discount and then the tax. You check it for yourself, see if you end up with $1,800. So we're going to work one last one, also be a loss, percent loss. All right, so let's say Judy sells in the market and she had bought 400 pounds. 400 pounds of tomatoes. Of tomatoes, right? But you know she going to have a lot of people come to the market, so she has pounds of tomatoes. She paid for this 400 pounds of tomatoes, for the whole 400 pounds, she paid $800 for the whole 400 pounds. Okay. Now, by the time she had finished, because some of the tomatoes were spoiled, she had to throw some away, right? She had to throw away some of them. So she realized that she made a loss. But at the end of the day, she realized she made a loss of, say, 30%. 30% loss on the tomatoes. All right, so just work on me. How much was her loss? And how much money did she actually go home with, right? So that's two things you're finding out. How much was her loss? How much was her loss? And how much money did she take home? She bought the 400 pounds of those. She paid $800 for the 400 tomatoes. You know how tomatoes are. They are perishable. They are what we call perishable items. They spoil quickly. And you know, sometimes people come and they feel up. You know the song, you know, our favorite little song, man, Linstead Market. And the vendors telling them, nobody come feel up the things because you will make them spoil. Well, that's what happened to the tomatoes. People come and they feel up some of them and them get soft. I had to give away some and she had to throw away some. At the end of the day, she realized that she had made a 30% loss. So I want you to work out how much money did she lose and how much money did she actually take home at the end of. So this is the last question we're doing this session. have to work quickly on me. How much did Judith actually lose? How much money did she take home? So let me see your answers coming. Let me see your answers coming in, scholars. How much money did she? When you see, when you sell, it's always a give and take situation. You're not sure if you're going to be able to sell back what you're buying. So business is a risky thing. When you go into business, it's a risk that you're taking. And that's one of the reasons why businesses put on a percentage profit to make up for some of the losses that they have to incur along other items, right? So it's not just to pay the worker bills, pay themselves, have little extra money to run the business, but you also have to cover the losses that you can make, because you're not sure, anything can happen. The economy might take a little slump, not buying as much as they used to, might end up losing. So where are the answers? Where are my scholars with their answers? Come on, guys, this one is not so hard. Work it together. So she bought the items for $800. She made a 30% loss. So we just need to work out what is 30% of $800. And that is pretty straight. This one, the pair of zeros cancel that zero. So 8 times 30, and that would give us 240. She lost $240. So she actually took home, so of her 800 that she spent, she only made back, to take away the 240 from the 800. So she really just made back $560. So it was a bad market day this week, this Saturday. She did not even make as much as she spent. And that sometimes, any kind of business you go into, it's a risk. Sometimes what you spend. And then there are other times when you make so much more than what you spend. So that's why people business, because of those high times when your profits are so great and they make up for the losses. Right. So this session for profit and loss. Thank you, scholars, for participating and posting your answers. I didn't really see any questions. If you have a question afterwards, always post your question in the comment section of this video and I will get back to you. I will answer your questions. So let's say you go off and then you say, oh, but I'm not sure, why did Miss do that? I thought but no, I'm realizing I don't why she did this or why she did that. Just come back to this, post a comment, ask your question, and I'm certainly going to get back to you. All right, so thank you, scholars, and I'll see you in next class.